Hi, this is Misha. In our continuing coverage of Klingon ships in the section for Battlecruisers, we have the Klingon D4 from Enterprise. Wait. What the hell? This is, of course, the Klingon Katinga battlecruiser. And through an unfortunate series of events, it actually did appear in Enterprise, but I think every self-respecting Trekkie on Earth chooses to have selective memory about that. But we will talk about it in a minute. Actually, that's the second time it was unfortunately treated that way. This is the Klingon Battlecruiser, as seen in the motion picture from 1979. And this was also my very first Eagle Moss ship. At least the first one that came to my door. In some ways, it was a disappointment when I first got it. In some ways, it was actually above what I expected. Also, if you see a little blue, it's blue tack. For some reason, this one likes to slide off its stand. And since I'm going to be moving it around, I didn't want it to go plunk. Also, a fun fact about blue tack. Growing up, my mother liked arts and crafts, and she did sewing. She liked to paint. She liked to do like wood cutouts and stuff. And we always had the little tacky stuff around the house. Although I think she mostly bought it that was yellow, but she had some blue too. So this tacky stuff has been around forever for craftsy, artsy people. And it is awesome. I'll be honest with you guys. Okay, that was my camera telling me enough with the rambling. Get on to the show. So, the Katinga. Klingon battlecruiser, which was in service by at least 2270, and we know was in frontline, or at least very close to frontline service, as late as 2370. It was essentially a complement or replacement to the D7. Some have even gone so far as to say some Katingas are upgraded D7s. However, I don't think so. Dimensionally, it doesn't quite make sense. The D7 just seems to be a predecessor. They probably serve concurrently, because these are still top of the line in 2260s. And this was becoming top of the line by 2270s. And knowing the Klingons, they keep stuff around, so yeah. Obviously, the general hull plan is the same. Length is a little hard to determine. Some sources say it's a little bigger than the D7. Some actually say it's a little smaller at about 215 meters. The general notion, though, is it's roughly the same length. Likewise, general notion is it has roughly the same crew of around 400 to 450. We've got the forward torpedo launcher. It's actually quite a large bay, as seen in the motion picture in the Wrath of Khan. We also have a new secondary launcher in the rear between the impulse drive, the impulse engines. We have disruptors, and there are also accounts of these having phasers, although it could just be beam disruptors versus pulse. These are probably a little faster. They have a little more compact and modern looking engines compared with the D7. So we can assume they can go a little bit faster. We know at least it can do warp 5 according to the new scale, the TNG scale. Has a smaller kind of bridge module up here, a longer, thinner neck, larger section. Unlike a previous D7, we've actually seen the interior of a Katinga. We saw the bridge in the motion picture, and we actually saw the dining hall, transporter room, a corridor or two in Undiscovered Country. So the first and the last of the films. In the motion picture, we saw 3 of these get obliterated by V'ger, the computer with the worst spelling in the world, even worse than my spelling. We saw the same footage actually cropped and reused again in the Kobayashi Maru simulator in Wrath of Khan. We don't see this for a couple of films, and then we see it again as Kronos 1, the Chancellor flagship in Undiscovered Country, where it doesn't get obliterated, but it does get walloped. It was nice to see a return. Now, I think the Kronos 1 model was a slight modification of the Katinga, but close enough, guys. We see this in Next Generation. The real world reason being budget. They didn't have money for a new Klingon ship. It's the cruiser they use in Season 1 and Season 2 before the Vorcha comes on in Season 3. And of course we'll get to that in a few minutes in the next video or two. But it doesn't disappear. While you don't really see Katingas in Next Generation anymore, it actually appeared a lot in Deep Space Nine. Mostly in the Dominion War scenes. And at this time we see that these have gone through an upgrade, a modernization program. They're given 6 to 8 heavy disruptors, which kind of have a red pulse or beam. So upgraded disruptors. And through the way they're talking, it seems like they have modernized and upgraded cloaking devices. Now that's something to say. In the motion picture, these did not have cloaks. And come to think of it, I don't think you see Kronos 1 cloaking either. But by Next Generation, we do see Katingas with cloaks. So, sometime between the late 23rd and early 24th centuries, these were retrofitted, or fitted, if they were new production, with cloaking devices. They would be the first Klingon cruiser to do so. Now, what about the missteps with the Katinga? Well, the poor thing has been abused in the hands of art directors and the show. First, even though they meant to use a D7 model in Voyager, they even called it a D7 in the script and on screen, they actually showed a Katinga, which was unfortunate. It would have been cool to see a D7 in Voyager, I think. And it was a neat throwback to use that term. It was a goof, it happens. But then it happened again in Enterprise. In a Season 1 episode of Enterprise, they were supposed to have what they called the D4 cruiser. They even had preliminary models and whatnot ready to go. And I understand they said they were tired, they've been working, it was the first season, they had done a lot, I get that. But they threw in a Katinga model thinking that Star Trek fans wouldn't notice or care. How you misjudge that is beyond me. Obviously, everyone noticed about 3 seconds after their brain registered what they were seeing. A Katinga, not even a D7, in 2151. Right. Some people try to make excuses of, oh, it was, the blah, 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 upgrades. No, there's no way a starship would be in service for 250 years. 100 years I can sort of kind of accept, especially considering a lot of that Next Generation era was kind of meh as far as evolution, of technology. But 250 is absurd. They just made a mistake. But technically that means the Katinga, this model, did appear in Enterprise, which is pretty damn funny. During the Dominion War, these weren't exactly frontline combat ships, although we did see them in frontline assaults on occasion. They were more like convoy escort and border patrol planetary defense ships. They were sturdy, dependable, and kind of had a certain tradition and legend to them. And obviously they were manufactured for a very long time. Like I said, I was really happy that Eagle Moss did a Katinga. This came out very early in the collection. It was about the 6th, I think, or 7th ship. The model's great. It's one of the lighter models. It's very plasticky polymer with the metal just kind of being in the center section here. And since this was my first one to get, I thought, are they all going to be this kind of slim? This is a smaller model than some. It's long, of course, but very slim. And I thought, are they all kind of going to be this light? But luckily they weren't. I mean, I can't say I'm unhappy with it, especially with the other ships. I think the detailing's nice, but when I wasn't sure what to expect when I got my other ships, I was hoping they wouldn't all quite be this light and spindly, and of course I wasn't. Then I can't remember what my next ship was, but it was something quite nice, like the NX or something that was very obviously more substantial and more metal. So I was quite happy. And it really completes the old Klingon fleet. Well, if you could, like, share, subscribe. Also tune in to other episodes. Any questions or comments? As always, I welcome them below, guys. Or should I say patachs? Patachs? Add an S to plural in Klingon? I have no damn clue. I never got that deep into Star Trek. This is Misha, and I will catch you very soon next time.